Over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be sharing a series of short videos to help us learn to think like Jesus. That is, to think biblically through the lens of Scripture. Now, I think the New Testament's pretty clear that we cannot live like Jesus lived unless we also think like Jesus thought. So I'm doing this with a couple end goals in mind. First, that it will provide for you a lens through which you can view not only your world, but also other views of the world in light of the Bible. And then second, that it would equip us to be courageous, to feel prepared, to appear calm and non-reactive, even as the world around us continues to show signs of breakdown and disruption and chaos. The term worldview is everywhere in churches right now, and I think it's because Christians are trying to play catch up after dropping the ball for the last few decades. The truth is, we have been more preoccupied with building big churches than building biblical churches. We've failed to teach people the foundations of our beliefs, or what we used to call catechism. So it's time for us to turn that trend around. Worldviews are the key to understanding how humans think. We're meaning-making creatures, and so as we interface with culture, our worldview will help us determine what is true, why it matters, and then how we can influence others. In 2 Corinthians 10, Paul says, "For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ." So, every idea, every belief, every law, every political opinion, every idea flows directly from a worldview. Ideas are never neutral. No law is non-ideological. Here's why. Because ideas don't just say something, they do something. Ideas have consequences. Thoughts produce actions. Edward Bernays is often called the father of advertising and marketing, and he's the nephew of Sigmund Freud. He understood, perhaps better than anyone, that because our thoughts will drive our behavior, the real battlefield is in the mind with thoughts. In fact, the World Cup right now is set to spend $10.5 billion on advertising because the companies behind those dollars know if they can put a thought in your mind, there's a high likelihood it will drive your behavior to purchase one of their products. Every idea or thought flows from some worldview, and this is the starting point for any conversation about ideologies or worldviews. Nothing is neutral. Nothing just washes up onto the shore. I often hear Christians talk about government or economic policies or laws with what might sound like kindness, and they say something like, "Oh, I don't think Christianity should influence laws," or something like that, right? Well, the question we must ask them then is, okay, well then which worldview should influence our laws? Which worldview is better than the Christian worldview? Every law is a product of a worldview. The question we must ask is the worldview that is shaping the laws that govern our society biblical or unbiblical?